Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry I didn't upload the past 2 days. I had a rough couple of days. I just, I find myself sometimes really fighting, um, coming to God. Like, for example, we went to church on Sunday and we had a guest, pastor from Argentina talking, and he was like, he did something, and then, he asked everyone to close their eyes, stand up, to feel Jesus pour his spirit on us. And oh my God, did I feel it? It was like heavy. It was crazy. And I didn't even stand up or close my eyes. And because I was being like stubborn for some reason. I don't know. I was like feeling agitated at church. I was like getting angry. I was like wanting to lash out and just everything. And I was getting super agitated. And then when the pastor wanted everyone to stand up and just pray for healing and this and that, I was just like, no. Like, I was so just stubborn, and I was like, I don't know what came over me. I don't know why I had that reaction. I don't know what was wrong with me. I don't know what happened. Um, it was like, I was just like shutting down. It was all too much, and I was just like turning it all off, and I was just like, no. So then we like left church, and my husband puts on like a song about God, and it instantly makes me want to start crying. Like, I mean, like bawling, crying, because I was just like feeling upset, and I didn't understand why. And so I'm like, literally, so my whole life, I have dealt with a lot, and I developed a really bad coping skill where when things become too much, emotionally, and like it just feels too much, I just take it all and just shove it away. And then I just go like numb, and I just don't feel nothing, and I just shove it away in the back of my mind. Yeah, it's not a great habit. And that was what was happening to me. So I was clearly, whatever was going on was tapping into me too deeply, emotionally wise, and it was too much for me. And so I was, my flesh part of me was kind of going into protect mode, where I was like, okay, this is too much. I'm gonna get angry, shove it all away, and then just not deal with it. And so that's what I did, and it was terrible. Um, I don't like when I do that, but it's weird when it happens. It feels like I have no control. It feels like my brain is doing it for me. It's like my brain's like, oh, this is too much. I'm gonna take over and shove this all away. It's like my brain's like gets in the driver's seat, and it's like, oh no, we're not gonna do this right now. It's too much. Um, and I've had that happen to me before. I actually repressed um things that happened with my dad the day after I left my dad's house, for almost 10 years. I repressed it all. And I went down a very dark path along the way. Um, but I I don't know always what to do now. Now that I have God, I'm like, okay, now what? Like, how do I navigate this now? Like, so I've just been trying to pray about it and ask God for help. I'm like, God, you're going to have to help me through this. You're going to have to hold my hand. You're going to have to comfort me. You're going to have to walk me through this, because I don't know what to do. I don't know how to break through to this, because this is obviously very scary. So let me break down why it's scary. So my entire life, everyone has failed me. The people who have failed me the most were the people that were like the people you should trust and rely on the most, which was my parents, my, grandparents, just people really close. And everyone else under the sun has hurt me along the way. And so I don't trust easily. I don't trust things. The foot has always dropped in my life. Bad things have always happened. And now I'm getting to know God. And God's like, I'll never abandon you. I love you. Like I'm here for you. Like pulling me out of the darkness. And sometimes I'm like, when I'm at church and, God's like trying to get you to like feel him and it's so much emotion and it feels so scary. Like sometimes when my husband hugs me, I don't even hug him back. I go limp. I'm just like, he hugs me and I'm just like standing there with my arms like just flat, like on my body. I'm not even like wrapped around him. And it's like, I don't even mean to do that. It's just something I do because I like, it just feels so scary sometimes to like let people in. So then you have the ultimate source here of light and love, which is God, trying to, you know, get me to open up to him. And on top of that, open up to him in front of a crowd of people at church. It is beyond difficult for me. And I don't know what to do about it. I don't know how to deal with it. Um, so I've just been praying about it and asking God for help because I don't know how to, I don't know how to let go and fully trust what God is trying to give to me. It's like there's a big part of me knows, yes, I can trust this and I can trust God. And then there's that part of me that is still just like, that fleshly part of me keeps trying to like, no, like, don't be so sure, you know, and trying to like creep doubt in me and like keep me like, like, can you trust this, And, obviously the enemy takes advantage of all that chaos in my mind. And so I was feeling very chaotic yesterday and Sunday in my brain, in my mind, in my emotions. I was just like, it was like a hurricane in my mind. It was awful. But I'm just trying to pray and ask God for help and guidance and to help me through this because I really don't know what to do about it. I don't know how to just let go and just embrace God fully, because to do that is like you have to be vulnerable and you have to like really let God in and you have to really put your heart out there. And that to me is the scariest thing that I can do. And with my daughter, she's like the only person that I'm like super affectionate and loving with. Um, but that's because it feels safe with her. She's my daughter. I'm with her all the time and she's never hurt me. So, it's different with her. Um, but sometimes I even find myself like having to pull myself in the moment when I'm hugging her or something or cuddling with her, and I have to remind myself to like just let myself feel it and enjoy it. Because I've become so like cut off over the years, of everything I've been through, that it's difficult for me to fully embrace it. And with God, it's like, it's so hard to fully embrace it. Like, I can't even fully describe to you how scary it is for me. And so I think that's part of the reason why I've been having so much trouble at church lately, is because I'm God's wanting me to let go and I'm fighting it. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, the only thing I can do right now is I keep praying and I'm asking for help from God, because I don't know what else to do. So, there's that. Well, in case there's any newcomers, before we start today's chapters, which we're starting a new book called Lamentations, I've been reading the Bible for a year now, getting to know God through reading the Bible and praying, and I'm beyond grateful that God's come into my life. But sometimes it is hard. But I would never want to go back to my life before. My life before was harder. Yeah, it's hard sometimes with God, but it's better. You have purpose. There's purpose to the hard times. It's not just, oh, I'm just going through a really hard time. My life is miserable for no reason. It's like, at least with God, if you're going through a hard time or you're having a hard time with something, there's a reason for it. And, God's pulling you out of the darkness. Why wouldn't you want that? I feel like everyone would want that. I want that. And I keep praying for that. I don't know. It's hard some days, but I would never want to go back to the way my life was before God. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Never. Okay, let's start into today's chapters and see what's going on. I read these chapters the other day, but I don't know. It was, some of it I didn't understand. Let's see if I have more clarification today.
Only sits the city that was full of people. How like a widow is she, who was great among the nations. The princess among the provinces has become a slave. She weeps bitterly in the night. Her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers, she has none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They have become her enemies. Judah has gone into captivity, under affliction and hard servitude. She dwells among the nations. She finds no rest. All her persecutors overtake her in dire straits. The roads to Zion mourn, because no one comes to the set feasts. All her gates are desolate. Her priests sigh. Her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness. Her adversaries have become the master. Her enemies prosper. For the Lord has afflicted her because of the multitude of her transgressions. Her children have gone into captivity before the enemy. And from the daughter of Zion, all her splendor has departed. Her princes have become like deer that find no pasture, that flee without strength before the pursuer. In the days of her affliction and roaming, Jerusalem remembers all her pleasant things that she had in the days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the enemy, with no one to help her. The adversaries saw her and mocked at her downfall. Jerusalem has sinned gravely, therefore she has become vile. All who honored her despise her, because they have seen her nakedness. Yes, she sighs and turns away. Her uncleanness is in her skirts. She did not consider her destiny. Therefore her collapse was awesome. She had no comforter. O Lord, behold my affliction, for the enemy is exalted. The adversary has spread his hand over all her pleasant things, for she has seen the nations enter her sanctuary, those whom you commanded not to enter your assembly. All her people sigh. They seek bread. They have given their valuables for food to restore life. See, O Lord, and consider, for I am scorned. Is it nothing to you, all you who pass by? Behold and see, if there is any sorrow like my sorrow, which has been brought on me, which the Lord has inflicted in the day of his fierce anger. From above, he has sent fire into my bones, and it overpowered them. He has spread a net for my feet, and turned me back. He has made me desolate and faint all the day. The yoke of my transgressions was bound. They were woven together by his hands, and thrust upon my neck. He made my strength fail. The Lord delivered me into the hands of those whom I am not able to withstand. The Lord has trampled underfoot all my mighty men in my midst. He has called an assembly against me to crush my young men. The Lord trampled as in a winepress the virgin daughter of Judah. For these things I weep. My eye overflows with water, because the Comforter, who should restore my life, is far from me. My children are desolate, because the enemy prevailed. Zion spreads out her hands, but no one comforts her. The Lord has commanded concerning Jacob that those around him become his adversaries. Jerusalem has become an unclean thing among them. The Lord is righteous, for I rebelled against his commandment. Hear now, all peoples, and behold my sorrow. My virgins and my young men have gone into captivity. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. My priests and my elders breathed their last in the city, while they sought food to restore their life. See, O Lord, that I am in distress. My soul is troubled. My heart is overturned within me, for I have been very rebellious. Outside the sword bereaves. At home it is like death. They have heard that I sigh, but no one comforts me. All my enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that you have done it. Bring on the day you have announced, that they may become like me. Let all their wickedness come before you, and do to them as you have done to me, for all my transgressions. For my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. How the Lord has covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger. He cast down from heaven to the earth the beauty of Israel, and did not remember his footstool in the day of his anger. The Lord has swallowed up and has not pitied all the dwelling places of Jacob. He has thrown down in his wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. He has brought them down to the ground. He has profaned the kingdom and its princes. He has cut off in fierce anger every horn of Israel. He has drawn back his right hand from before the enemy. He has blazed against Jacob like a flaming fire, devouring all around. Standing like an enemy, he has bent his bow. With his right hand like an adversary, he has slain all who were pleasing to his eye. On the tent of the daughter of Zion, he has poured out his fury like fire. The Lord was like an enemy. He has swallowed up Israel. He has swallowed up all her palaces. He has destroyed her strongholds, and has increased mourning and lamentation in the daughter of Judah. He has done violence to his tabernacle, as if it were a garden. He has destroyed his place of assembly. The Lord has caused the appointed feasts and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion. In his burning indignation, he has spurned the king and the priest. The Lord has spurned his altar. He has abandoned his sanctuary. He has given up the walls of her palaces into the hand of the enemy. They have made a noise in the house of the Lord, as on the day of a set feast. The Lord has purposed to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He has stretched out a line. He has not withdrawn his hand from destroying. Therefore, he has caused the rampart and wall to lament. They languished together. Her gates have sunk into the ground. He has destroyed and broken her bars. Her king and her princes are among the nations. The law is no more, and her prophets find no vision from the Lord. The elders of the daughter of Zion sit on the ground and keep silence. They throw dust on their heads and gird themselves with sackcloth. The virgins of Jerusalem bow their heads to the ground. My eyes fail with tears. My heart is troubled. My bile is poured on the ground because of the destruction of the daughter of my people, because the children and the infants faint in the streets of the city. They say to their mothers, "Where is grain and wine?" As they swoon like the wounded in the streets of the city, as their life is poured out in their mother's bosom. How shall I console you? To what shall I liken you, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I compare with you, that I may comfort you, O virgin daughter of Zion? For your ruin is spread wide as the sea. Who can heal you? Your prophets have seen for you false and deceptive visions. They have not uncovered your iniquity to bring back your captives, but have envisioned for you false prophecies and delusions. All who pass by clap their hands at you. They hiss and shake their heads at the daughter of Jerusalem. Is this the city that is called the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All your enemies have opened their mouth against you. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, "We have swallowed her up. Surely this is the day we have waited for. We have found it. We have seen it. The Lord has done what he purposed. He has fulfilled his word, which he commanded in days of old. He has thrown down and has not pitied, and he has caused an enemy to rejoice over you. He has exalted the horn of your adversaries." Their heart cried out to the Lord, "O wall of the daughter of Zion, let tears run down like a river, day and night. Give yourself no relief. Give your eyes no rest. Arise, cry out in the night, at the beginning of the watches. Pour out your heart like water before the face of the Lord. Lift your hands toward him for the life of your young children, who faint from hunger at the head of every street. See, O Lord, and consider, to whom have you done this? Should the women eat their offspring, the children they have cuddled? Should the priest and prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Lord? Young and old lie on the ground in the streets. My virgins and my young men have fallen by the sword. You have slain them in the day of your anger. You have slaughtered and not pitied. You have invited as to a feast day the terrors that surround me. In the day of the Lord's anger, there was no refugee or survivor. Those whom I have borne and brought up, my enemies have destroyed. I am the man who has seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. He has led me and made me walk in darkness and not in light. Surely he has turned his hand against me, time and time again throughout the day. He has aged my flesh and my skin, and broken my bones. He has besieged me, and surrounded me with bitterness and woe. He has set me in dark places, like the dead of long ago. He has hedged me in so that I cannot get out. He has made my chain heavy. Even when I cry and shout, he shuts out my prayer. He has blocked my ways with hewn stone. He has made my paths crooked. He has been to me a bear lying in wait, like a lion in ambush. He has turned aside my ways and torn me in pieces. He has made me desolate. He has bent his bow and set me up as a target for the arrow. He has caused the arrows of his quiver to pierce my loins. I have become the ridicule of all my people. their taunting song all the day. He has filled me with bitterness. He has made me drink wormwood. He has also broken my teeth with gravel and covered me with ashes. You have moved my soul far from peace. I have forgotten prosperity. And I said, my strength and my hope have perished from the Lord. Remember my affliction and roaming, the wormwood and the gall. My soul still remembers and sinks within me. This I recall to my mind. Therefore I have hope. Through the Lord's mercies we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I hope in him. The Lord is good to those who wait for him, to the soul who seeks him. It is good that one should hope and wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for a man to bear the yoke in his youth. Let him sit alone and keep silent, because God has laid it on him. Let him put his mouth in the dust. There may yet be hope. Let him give his cheek to the one who strikes him, and be full of reproach. For the Lord will not cast off forever. Though he causes grief, yet he will show compassion according to the multitude of his mercies. For he does not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men. To crush under one's feet all the prisoners of the earth, to turn aside the justice due a man before the face of the Most High, or subvert a man in his cause, the Lord does not approve. Who is he who speaks and it comes to pass, when the Lord has not commanded it? Is it not from the mouth of the Most High that woe and well-being proceed? Why should a living man complain, a man for the punishment of his sins? Let us search out and examine our ways, and turn back to the Lord. Let us lift our hearts and hands to God in heaven. We have transgressed and rebelled. You have not pardoned. You have covered yourself with anger and pursued us. You have slain and not pitied. You have covered yourself with a cloud, that prayer should not pass through. You have made us an offscouring and refuse in the midst of the peoples. All our enemies have opened their mouths against us. Fear and a snare have come upon us, desolation and destruction. My eyes overflow with rivers of water for the destruction of the daughter of my people. My eyes flow and do not cease, without interruption, till the Lord from heaven looks down and sees. My eyes bring suffering to my soul because of all the daughters of my city.
Oh wow, look at how short Lamentations is. That's so strange because I watched a video. Oh, okay, that's so weird. I watched the Bible Project on YouTube, the summary video of Lamentations, and it seemed so much longer. It's weird. But I guess there's only a couple more chapters tomorrow and then we're done. This is going to sound so strange, but I couldn't help but think about the United States when we were reading chapter 3, because it's clear that, we as a country in the United States has turned away from God, and the enemy has just been infiltrating and taking over in plain sight. And now, there's a lot of people who are like, no, like, let's turn to God, let's turn back to God. And it makes me think a lot about like Israel and how they've turned away from God, and then God lets them, he steps back, and then all chaos happens and darkness, and then they're like, whoa, no, save us, come back. And then he saves them, and it's the same cycle. And I feel like right now, God is giving us a chance in the United States to turn back to him. And I feel like he's giving us that opportunity as a country. And I really pray that we all, you know, turn to him. And I'm very grateful that God came into my life. And I have been having trouble lately, but the deeper I get with my connection with God, the more difficult it's become, because now it's gotten into a deeper level. Before it was a matter of, oh, do I believe or not? Like more surface level stuff. And the deeper I'm going, the more it's tapping into deeper emotional things. And it's like kind of intense. But I feel like right now, this is God like trying to, transform me right now and lay foundations in my life. And I feel like, when I was reading these chapters, I just kept thinking about the United States and how, like, we strayed so far. And now, we're getting a chance to turn back. And I hope that we do. I hope that we really do as a country. Like, I hope that God, you know, I hope that we're able to bring God to so many other people's lives. And, like, because there's so many people who are lost and hurting and struggling. And it's just like, now that I have God in my life, I'm like, okay, God is the answer for it all. And I know right now God is, working on me on a personal level before he takes me to whatever he's taking me to do. But sometimes I'm like, oh man, I wish I could like help people more. It's hard for me being a stay-at-home mom because I thrive off of being around people and talking to people and helping people and listening to people and just helping them in any way I can. So being at home all the time, it does feel difficult because I feel like I'm not doing nothing. Even though I'm raising my daughter, it still feels like I'm not doing anything. So it's a little difficult, but I'm going through a little bit of a rough time right now. But I know that God has his reasons for everything that we're going through, me and my husband. So I'm trying to just trust him and trust that, you know, God knows what he's doing. And I need to just stay in that trust in him and not let the enemy like create doubt in me. Because that's when I let the enemy get into my head, that's when things get really chaotic for me. So I'm trying to just stay disciplined, work on the things God's asked me to work on, have faith in him, even if whatever he's doing right now doesn't make sense. I'm trying to just have faith that it's for the bigger picture. So, okay, guys, well, I'll see you tomorrow for some more chapters. And then, yeah, hopefully you guys are all having a good week. Mine's gonna get better. I know it. Okay, guys, see you tomorrow.